Okay, I'm sitting here trying to figure out what I want to say next to the world, to this whole wide world. And my brain's coming up with a few things. My brain is so incredible, and it gets as exhausted with me as I get with AI. I think if anything came good that came out of AI for me personally, it's because I began to understand the functions of why my brain thinks so differently than the way I feel, if that makes any sense. But it's one of those processes that you kind of sit here and you're going, oh yeah, that sounds good. Wait, can you repeat that? And then you hear it in its full form from your brain. Now that's like working with AI. And I don't know about you. I don't need AI. I already have it. It's built right on in. And I just need tools. My AI that helps me do what I'm doing here in this life just needs the proper tools. And that is what technology has promised us since technology probably began back in the Stone Age. So, yeah, how do you come up with that after all this many hundreds of thousands of years of evolution with technology? Not in our personal evolution. I mean, of course, that went hand in hand with it, but that's an epiphany I needed to have. Because I have to tell you, at first, I was just fascinated with AI. And as an artistic person, it was expressive, it was delightful, it was chaotic because of copyrights and imbalanced policies that put the users of these, like music, quotes, such like that, into an untouchable domain that's in public. It's like going to a museum, but you can't use or touch anything. So, what are you really learning from it? I am a hands-on learner. I have always, because I've had to live hands-on my whole life. Thank God I did, because I'll tell you what, if I was exhausted because of my government, I'm doing that to myself now. I did not do that in my adult years. In my adult years, because of all of the bad things that I had learned, all of the misconceptions I had about my beliefs, my parents, my family, it was an incomplete story. So there was no way that I could actually make a good judgment. I could get close to a good judgment so that the consequences were not exasperatingly devastating to my life. And maybe because I saw so many people do that, take their entire lives to the edge, already knowing how to fix it. They just don't feel they have access to the tools. And that's truth. That's truth. Surviving in humanity should not be so incorporated. No, we fought against that. Americans have been fighting against that close to 200 years, maybe over 200 years. If you're in my country, welcome. I refuse to go with the Democrats encouraging persecution of you being here when you were promised you were coming in as a lawful person. I am not going to hold that against you. I refuse. It's un-American. What is American is after a sudden disaster, we pick up the pieces. And everybody in the whole area of the devastation, in this case, the entire country, has to come together. If you're in my country because of that app, welcome. As long as you're not a criminal, you're welcome to be here. I'm glad you are here. I think our country needs more people. I do agree with Elon Musk. Our country does need more people, so we have a stronger voice against a government that has grown into a weak-minded, dishonorable, disrespectful government. And if we Americans want that to change, welcome to America. Because I need your help to make that change. Our government is counting on what you don't know about American life. I want to tell you, I want to teach you. I want to teach you how to succeed so my country can prosper. I am American, and I am old-fashioned about the laws. I am old-fashioned about the laws we used to have in place that worked. The only thing was our government was too busy making money off of drugs flowing through all of South America and China in some cases. You have a difficult path here if you're an immigrant, most definitely. But I, as a full-grown adult who actually understands the kind of political games governments play against each other and they play against their citizens. I have been a bystander so that I could focus on raising my kids. But that doesn't mean, and my children will tell you, that I didn't pay attention to what was happening in my country. My life experiences, you help anybody who is down on their luck. You help whoever is in need. That's my motto. Now, that doesn't mean that I have to starve with you and just give you all mine. That means I'm willing to share with you what I have so we can both survive. And what I have for the immigrants is information you desperately need. I believe you belong here. Unless you came from a prison or through with a gang or cartel, those don't belong here. Those people all have criminal records. It's time to put them back in the shadows. We will never be able to exterminate cartels as long as money is wanted. Never. But we can manipulate and control their violence. I've seen Mexico do it in my 60 years. I've seen it come close to putting the cartels so far back underground they could barely push their drugs. But when they did that, they worked with the Americans. country. Both countries worked together, and crime decreased in both countries. But it's been a decade now of come on in. We'll give you money to come here. A decade. Most people are just now hearing about it. And if you're an immigrant in America, you definitely have not heard about it. So we Americans need to take up our responsibility to reach out and communicate with you so that we can reinforce the voice of people. Now, I know you're going to face, as an immigrant, all kinds of angry people who don't understand why you took that chance. They think it was all about the money. And it's not. And I know that. Because in my lifetime, in 30 plus years in Texas, I definitely know immigrants. I'm not an American you gotta fear. And I do not actually support mass deportation of those who came in on that app that was used on your phone. I'm not going to hold that against you. You did not know what you were walking into. You did not know because you're probably not even allowed to see a lot of the videos from people like me. They don't want us to talk. They don't want us to share ideals. They need us divided. That's why people are still, even though racism is actually so outdated in America, that young Americans who are darker fleshed just claim themselves as Americans. Not Black Americans, not African Americans, just good old Americans. Because that's where they live. They live in the here and the now, not the past. And they have not made it past the present. Humanity does and is capable of being a great species. And governments will tell you that, well, we are a great species, but it's only because of us that you exist. They don't even consider themselves our species. They think of us as a lesser being, like a slave. If America knows one thing throughout its entire history, is that the evolution of slavery will evolve with a country. And it's up to us, our country. This is the difference about being an American and your homeland. Your country, my country. Your country, my country. Learn that. And you can do great things. You really can here. The elitists are a problem every country has. So let's take what we know controls them and use it. And with you here, with all of the millions of migrants that came here, we actually have a chance to get it back under control. Don't take over power. You do not know the system. Follow American citizens' lead. Let us guide you into controlling a government. This is the biggest agenda American citizens must have. You like freedom. You like putting food on the table for your family. And when I say freedom, it's freedom of fear that Americans dream of. Yet, propaganda, every day, all day, is fear thy neighbor. And it is hidden so deep that if someone does not set the example for how to change it, it will just continue to get worse. Welcome to America and what it truly means to be an American citizen. Don't bother learning our laws. They're in constant flux. They change constantly. It's how they try to keep us disabled. They change our laws. What's legal, what's not. They censor us too. That's why you really don't know what happens every day here in our country. What the struggle is really like. But you are going to learn it now unless you choose to go home. And I hope you don't. I hope you stay. Because here, with your millions, comes new thinking, new minds to create, make businesses, make our own productions. Our sciences can... There is so much. I look forward to working with you to see excel and get better. Immigrants, you are the American citizen's hope. And for those Americans who do not accept that idea, they're being misled by their anger. They're being misled by their mistrust that they've been so exposed to for all their lives. America is a great country because there are a lot of Americans like me who recognize how great this country truly can be. And I am going to try and sway the minds of Americans. It's the only thing I can do. I don't have any political power. I don't have anything to offer you but friendship and advice, caring advice. I do care. I have seen your plight. I have never been the kind of person to just save myself. I try to save everyone around me. And it's a huge task. And it has cost me my health. It was a worthy sacrifice. If I can see my country evolving into an equal society. And that's a hard thing to do. Because we have a problem with self-promotion. And when I say that, I mean We have to build ourselves up to believe we are good people. And many people are tired of doing this because it's a constant struggle to add that into your life with people who don't believe the same as you do. But in America, they have that right. I have the right to believe that my country should be on a different path, a better path. For human beings, the hell with the government. The hell with their borders. Do you think I don't feel that way? But open borders, the way it was done, was not good. And it wasn't your fault. That lay solely on every country that participated in bringing the criminals, explicitly chose them to come to our country. Put them on airplanes. They did not come through the southern border. At the southern border, they're just catching mules and poor people. Cartels came in on planes directly from the countries. And that was negotiated under the Biden-Harris administration. They did this to you too, my fellow immigrants. I may have generations of my ancestry being right here in America. Nonetheless, I'm still an immigrant. I'm proof you can become an American citizen. And if you're seeing this right now, it's proof that we can change things. Make them better for all of us. The hell with the petty argument of where you came from. We should be helping you learn our language. We should be helping you by letting our children play together. We should be helping you, and you should be helping us by doing this. I will do everything in the power of my voice to try and reach as many Americans as I can. But I need your help to do that. That's why I am adding Spanish is the second language of America. You think I don't know that? That's why subtitles are in Spanish. I want to be understood, and I want my message to be correct. Now, I'm going to take a lot of backlash. I want you to hear me, immigrants. There are a lot of people who are just angry. And right now, you're the little kid in the room with a bunch of mad adults on drugs. Okay, so we have to remind people we are above this. American, we are above this. We do not have to give these political armies and their propaganda the right to take us to a war with people we should be welcoming. Only because it was our government that did this, and we, the people, allowed it. That's on us. Takes it right back home to where the responsibility belongs. And if you want to fix this, put money into it, it's not going to fix the problem. Money's already in it. Increasing the flow is only going to make it worse. I learned this. I got a little bit of money in my inheritance. It's all gone. All gone. But I helped the people I needed to help. and I helped myself to better my life. But that costs money to move 800 miles with 30 years of life's belongings out of a 3-bedroom house that was filled to the brim of just stuff. Personally, I'm not a fan of stuff. It takes up too much space. But you are not stuff. You are a person. You are a human being. And I don't care which country you come from, as long as you're not waving that country that failed you. I don't want to see their flag. I don't want to see it. They failed you. That's why you're here. That's why you are claiming asylum. That's what we were told. It became too dangerous. Your government's not doing a good enough job, so you're fleeing. Is it true? If it isn't, why are you here? You should not have been granted asylum. So if you are fleeing the tyranny of one government to come here to another country to preach for that tyranny that you fled, I cannot respect you. The only flag that belongs in an immigrant's hand in this country is the American flag. I'm tired of my country being stomped on by angry people who do not know how to be in a free society, and they will not listen to the citizens who can help them live in that free society and keep it free. You know, my grandmother used to tell me when I was a teenager, actually, get off your soapbox, Angelique. Well, this is the biggest soapbox I have ever stepped on. And opening my mouth in this time in my country, when so much change has been thrust on us while we were unaware of what was being done. And the only reason we were unaware, we were trying to survive. It was coming down to survival of the fittest. And our homeless population is proof of that. Our country is about us changing the rules that our governments allowed to use on us. I have seen, they have a bill. Do you know there's a secret bill in office? Immigrants, listen up. That is trying to outlaw American militias and to criminally prosecute any American militia for existing. Do you know what an American militia is? That is the army of the people. It is citizens. Did you know you would have to be this responsible when you came here? Because once you take that oath and you take on my country as your own, you agree to stand with every American citizen against the tyranny of our government. We cannot be free when we are oppressed. We cannot be free when we live in constant fear. Without that militia, we have no self-defense. Most Americans don't even know that there is a bill currently almost all the way through Congress already. It's still got to make it to the Senate to make it illegal for the American militias to exist. You want to know who I think are the American militia? Our gangs. That's the true militia these days. But they're always too busy over politics and warring over borders, just like every other government, while the people struggle, while the people do not prosper. I want every immigrant in this country to prosper. I want them to have that opportunity. But I want the opportunity to prosper in my own country as well. And I expect every immigrant to help me make that happen. So we both, as equal people with human rights, can survive a better life. Welcome to America. American Granny out. Before I throw the kiss that I always throw, please like. I want my voice to be heard. Please like. I'm not even caring anymore if I've got subscribers. If you're subscribing to the channel is nowhere near as important as getting my voice heard. And that can only happen on YouTube's algorithm with your like. So if you think that I have made any sense at all, please, if you want change, that isn't going to mean beating up my neighbor or killing a stranger for being in my country. Help me. Help you. Give it a like. That's all I'm asking for. And if you're really feeling generous, share it. I love y'all. I don't know how long I got in this life. So I'm going to speak up about my life and what it actually means to be an American. We see all the creators that are profiting off of fake news and hate speech that it's this party, it said this, and then the Republicans said that, and then the Milky Way has gas in it, and cows can't sing. That is the government today. We've actually spent money on that knowledge. I'll look it up, it's there. Millions actually went to stuff like that. Studies. Boy, they'll make up anything these days to make a buck. So listen, I wish you all well here. If you're woke, I hope you're waking up. Because that's more important than being woke. Your life matters as much as mine. And it matters as much as anyone else's in this country. Your freedom, you can have it. That's America. But you cannot force it on others. That's un-American. No American has a right to judge you for what you do in your personal life unless you commit a crime. And it's supposed to be that way. You were used by our government. And it breaks my heart because you don't know how many tears I saw, how many hurting voices I heard that reached my heart. Our respect for life gives us extra protection for and toward our children. When you were misguided, to poison and sterilize children, to allow rape to be legalized of a child, to allow children, 13, 12-year-old girls, to be forced into prostitution. How about, instead of arguing over what the baby is in the womb, what about when it's outside of the womb? I took my job as a parent and my responsibility as a parent because I chose to make children and I chose to have them. My choice, my choice, my choice. My responsibility, my responsibility. Don't say responsibility overwhelms you. Your unwillingness is defeating you. Letting your mind say, I just don't want to do it, is defeating you. Every American has feelings. Every single American. I don't care from which country you came from. I don't care. It's irrelevant. What is relevant, and most relevant to me, is, are you now going to be an American? Are you going to go to the dark side where the criminal people you fled here to get away from? Or are you going to help us defeat them here? You could not defeat them in your homeland. You must defeat them here so that you can send them packing back to the homeland and retrieve the rest of your family members and bring them here to prosper with you. That's my biggest issue for the immigrants here. I will not call you illegal. I have been charged for a crime I did not know I committed. They say ignorance of the law is no excuse. Yes, it is. And whoever's responsibility that it was to teach that law to that person, they failed. Not me. They failed. Ignorance of the law is justification for immunity for every single American citizen. You did not know you were committing a crime. I will not, and I refuse to treat you as a criminal. You will soon be my fellow American. Now, Americans are grumpy, angry, got an attitude for the most part, and our children have gone through, they've been drugged and sterilized by our government. So before you put your children in schools, especially on the East Coast or the West Coast. And I know it's hit some of the smaller inner community states where you have no rights to your children. And Americans are currently in the process of changing that, giving you back your rights to your children. Because in this country, you will fight for them. And you have to make sure that they don't make laws to take away your right to your children. Being an American is an enormous responsibility. But I hope to all you immigrants out there that 50 years from now, when I'm dead and gone, there are more people like me being heard in this world. Because that's the only way to make real change. It's right here amongst us. If they see us as not of them, we're not of their class, we're not of their rank, we're not of their intelligence. If they see us that way, they do not see us as an equal. And that has to change, and we need every immigrant in this country today to begin helping us make our country free. Okay, boy, this is a long video, but I had to get it out. I love my country, and it's a big, big country. And you're going to find the wilderness is not where the mountains and trees are. It's deep within the government here. And we have to rein in the wolves. American Granny out.